Fiji Pro, and after 7 consecutive lay days, we are on. The ocean's come to play. There's a nice swell. The winds are beautiful. And the important thing is that the front runner, Owen Wright, and the defending champion, Gabrielle Medina, are both out of the event. So it leaves the door open for people like Kelly Slater, Mick Fanning, Joel Parkinson, the established guard, and the Jeep leader, yellow jersey wearer, John Florence, to gain some ground and really take a hold of this world title race. And to call the action, we're going to go to the booth with Giggs and Martin Potter.
Well, thanks so much, BL, as we pick up with him on the ferry. He's just on the edge of the lineup. You see the overview here of the beauty of Cloudbreak. It is a good morning from myself, Giggs Cilliers, alongside one of the most talented surfing natural people of all time, Martin Potter, the 89 world champ. Good morning to you, Potts. We're finally back in the game.
Yeah, we are, Giggs. And as BL said, after 7 lay days, it's really been tested. I mean, Mother Nature has been quite fickle. We've had some days where it has been almost borderline, but with these long period swells here in Fiji, just not enough action to get things going. Obviously, commissioners have been keeping a close eye on it every morning, waking up and making the calls. So they've really had their work cut out for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Being stuck out here in the South Pacific, much bigger swell cycles to deal with, Potts. And often there are still some world quality waves coming through the lineup, but consistency has been lacking over the last week. But the good news is the South Pacific is stacking up, and we do have the green light to get going here with a midday start. It's about 3 minutes out. That man there, Mick Fanning, on screen. Quarterfinals in Rio de Janeiro, and a more relaxed attitude coming into this part of the leg, Potts, and he's spoken publicly about that. He's ready to take on, but look at the opposition he has in Michelle Perez.
Yeah, Michelle Perez, obviously a very tough competitor out here. No stranger to these shallow reef breaks. So, definitely for me, one of the highlights so far of this event. Michelle Perez's foot grab, foot drag, tube ride stance. That really is one of the highlights for me. I mean, the waves have been pumping in those early rounds. It's going to be a little bit more challenging here today with this new swell filling in. We're kind of seeing a little bit broken up. So wave selection is going to be at a premium. Wave selection is going to be obviously the order of the day, but also choosing those right maneuvers at the right time. So it's going to be exciting, Giggs.
Well, a backhand approach here for both of these athletes as we tee up the first heat of the day's proceedings. 3-time world champion Mick Fanning now engaging a round 3 encounter against Michelle Perez. Of course, Michelle Perez now crowned as a pipe master, so we'll see what he brings to the reefs here of Tavarua in Fiji. Of course, competition out on Cloudbreak here. It is literally in the middle of the ocean, Potts.
That it is. And you can see the conditions, obviously favourable winds. But with this new swell filling in, I think we're still waiting for the bulk of it to happen. But with with round 3 needing to get done, we've got to pull the trigger sooner or later. We're running out of days, so it is kind of challenging. It's been a tough call for the Commissioner's Office over the last 7 days. So, it's been fun for us, though, hasn't it? We've got to relax a little bit and have a couple of surfs around the area. There's a couple of zones that have been sort of fun for us, but just not enough for the competition.
Well, Potts, the other thing noticing is the texture of the water here in the South Pacific. At midday, we've gone back to the pure east-southeast trade winds, so the winds are favorable here.
Yeah, you can see just a little bit of lump and bump in the ocean. A lot of water moving around here at the moment. That tide on its way out, so that should clean things up. So generally, once that reef exposes itself, it definitely sharpens the edge of the wave, and we're going to see conditions more than likely improve throughout this day.
Midday here, and we're waiting to get things underway. Of course, we look at the respective rankings of our athletes. Mick Fanning currently 11th on the Jeep leaderboard. Care of a quarterfinal, as we mentioned, in Rio. Slow start to 2017 for that man who has all the ammunition to take out another world title. Already 3 under the belt. Think of Mick's illustrious, now his 16th year on tour. What a great asset he's been to the modern day era of the sport, and a true professional in most every sense, Potts.
Yeah, 100% Giggs. Just an amazing athlete, such a good role model for our sport. Carries himself well. He's had some ups and downs in his career, but 3 world titles, one of the best of all time, really. And then we can hear the heat starting, Giggs. So game is on here, 35-minute heats. Can't wait.
Commissioner set the 35-minute clock for us, and we are now underway here. And welcome aboard as you join us from all over the globe. We are literally on a coral atoll. There is no island here. It's just a piece of coral in a circular shape. It's one of the most unique locations in the world for any sport, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you come from the beach breaks of Brazil, Saquarema, which is the last event we're at, we had probably, what, 15 to 20,000 people on the beach screaming and cheering. There was an amazing atmosphere. And then to come here, it's a completely different ballgame. You're out in the middle of the ocean by yourself. The only noise really is the sound of the waves crashing onto the reef. So a little bit of a different playing field.
Of course, these athletes leaning on experience, having visited this location several times in their careers thus far. Of course, both of them would have done swell strikes here as well. Lots of athletes arriving early to learn and get more familiar with the lineup and the reference points. And there it is.
Yep.
Happy 36th birthday.
Yeah, Mick Fanning, 36th birthday today, and it'd be a nice nice present after 7 lay days to get through this round. Michel Perez, the standout without a doubt in the early rounds of this event, but a little bit of a different playing field as we talked about. Maybe not as consistent, maybe not as big, but still as challenging. So both these guys really going to have to focus on trying to get those waves. I think wave selection really, to me, is what is going to make the difference here today, Giggs.
Well, we watch the conditions closely on hand. No rides just yet. In fact, no intention for any of the athletes paddling as we see their positioning in the lineup. Fanning a little bit further down the line. There has been some wider sets swinging through the curve of the coral edge here. Of course, as we said, June 13th, 1981, Mick Fanning born to the world. And, well, now serving his 16th year on tour. And we often think about his 3 world title pots, but what about all those other results?
Yeah.
Runner-up in 2015, runner-up in 2014, a number of third-place finishes. Easily one of the highest accolade sportsmen in the
Giggs, I think I turned pro
world.
in June of 1981.
100%.
Yeah, I think the Gunston 500 came around the corner in July. So, yep.
That's a good point. We'll talk more about that. Lots of heat still remaining. 23 heats still to go to crown a champion here as we get the first wave of this encounter underway. Mick, big slash. It's a slightly broken face, but he's going to keep that rail control. Beautiful systematic approach from Mick as he releases the fins there. So not tunneling perfection just yet, but very improved conditions from what we have been dealing with, and enough for the commissioner to get us underway. And, well, Mick will draw first blood.
Well, I mean, you look at it, last day of the waiting period is Friday, but just to get this round number 3 done and dusted, it gives us the opportunity to cherry pick the next few days, which is very important. So, you know, along with the commissioner's office, along with the surfers deciding to run today, which is I think is a good thing. Mick Fanning drawing first blood here in this clash between 2 warriors, really, Mick Fanning and Michel Perez. Here we go. Michel having a look at his first wave.
Perez now looks down the line, sees the wave growing on the inside edge, so he'll just keep reaching out. Hasn't really unleashed a turn yet, and now he'll tuck. Yes, and he'll thread a nice little pocket, so that's the kind of tube on offer here. As Perez now goes to work for the backhand maneuvers. That's a nice swing right there at the lip. So strong ride here for Michel Perez in comparison.
Wow.
And, well, ends up in that, is it even a foot deep there, Potts?
Yeah, just. You know, that's such a controlled start to the wave for Michel Perez. You know, the old Michel Perez would have really attacked that first wave and maybe made a mistake coming into the back part of that wave, but just really setting it all up, looking for that little tube to get the ball rolling and then unleashing some big turns. So very well-controlled surfing on that wave for Michel Perez.
Well, we'll be bringing those replays shortly, but Potso, what I liked about that was the relaxed approach of Michel Perez. Let's break down Mick Fanning's opening ride.
Yeah, you can see just a high line there to start things off for Mick Fanning. And there's that trademark body torque that he's got going. Beautiful style from Mick Fanning, rattling off some beautiful turns. These guys are probably riding their shorter boards here in these conditions. High performance surfing is what is going to be scoring. So Mick Fanning, a nice little start to him, but watch Michel Perez. You can see how casual he is. I almost thought he was going to kick out on a couple of occasions here. They're just waiting for it. Now you see him starting to race down the line, draws off the bottom, grabs a rail, tucks in nice and clean. Beautiful little cover up there from Michel Perez, and then rattles off some big, huge turns. I love the body language that Michel Perez brings to his surfing. All that upper body twists and carves. The board follows it around, and some good maneuvers there to finish off that wave for Michel.
Well, Michel Perez, a 9th here in Fiji last year, but arrived here ranked 13th. This year, Pot's a little gloomier a picture, down in 23rd, uncharacteristic for a surfer who's a regular top 10 finisher in Michel.
Yeah, very, very much so. But, you know, it's a long way to go. We've still got plenty of time in the year. This is kind of a dream run for Michel Perez, though, because it's Fiji, J-Bay, and then home for him at Tahiti. So it's if he can get the ball rolling here, he's going to be pretty dangerous moving up the rankings.
Well, we say a dream run coming with the awesome locations still to unfold on the World Surf League's Championship Tour. It also does play very much into Mick Fanning's strengths as well. So this will be a great encounter here. We're around 6.5 minutes into it. Of course, Michel Perez, a 9th. Michel's got to the semi-finals here before Potts.
Yes, that he has. So no stranger to big results.
We see those opening numbers now processed by the judging panel. Of course, 5 on duty. They are on a independent structure out on the coral atoll itself, and they're going to award a 7 against a 5-6-7 for the opening advantage in favor of Michel Perez.
So what that's telling me, even in these smaller conditions, the tube ride still is a major scoring maneuver, right? So cloud break notorious for the barrel. We've seen a lot of that coming up in the first couple of rounds of this event. Smaller conditions here today, but the judge is still looking for the barrel, which I like.
Just after midday here in Fiji, if you've just joined the broadcast, competition again underway here at the Outer Known Fiji Pro. Round 3 encounters. Losses here mean an equal 13th place finish, and winners move through to round 4 of competition.
Not a round you want to lose in. It's definitely not going to do you any good, that's for sure. And you know, just looking at the requalification situation, it's not going to help as well as that world title race. It's a definite throwaway. Yep. You can see on the bottom heats that are coming up. There's going to be some great surfing. We saw Italo Ferreira take down Gabriel Medina. Mick Fanning up here now against Michel Perez.
And look who's next, Bots.
Wow.
John Florence taking on Leonardo Fioravante. Big heat with Geordie Smith taking on Jean Duru. Jean Duru in some fine form here in the warm-up sessions, Potts.
Kelly Slater versus Conor O'Leary is going to be a danger man for Kelly. Conor surfing extremely well over the last few days out there. I love this one, though. Joel Parkinson, Jeremy Flores. I mean, both guys notoriously good out here. Kalawendino beat Durbridge. That's going to be another great heat. I love the backside-frontside combination between Seabass and Wiggly Dantes. And then to finish off the round, De Souza up against Stu Kennedy. So that is another good one.
Two of the hardest working surfers right there.
100%. They've both been out there every single day. Rain, hail or shine, it's been onshore, it's been small, it's been slow, but both those guys have been out there every single day, just keeping the blade sharp.
Well, the World Surf League bringing you a lot of action here this afternoon. A full round to complete here. We're on heat 5, 12, complete the round as we see Fanning now, wave number 2. Tight snap again. Great rail control. Little buckled pocket, but he'll snap it. And yes, he'll hold it together. So Fanning almost replicating his opening approach. Seeing a certain type of wave on the reef that Mick's picking up on. Let's see if Michel Perez can find an answer now. Still early stages, of course. All waves scored in the template of the heat. No real limit these days. There used to be a limit back in the old day, Pots. How many waves you could catch?
10 wave limit, and then it got pushed out to 15, and then they said, you know what, let's just give these guys as many waves as they want. We want to see them surf. Mick Fanning, wave number 2 for him. And you said, Giggs, very similar to his opening account. Just a smaller wave, kind of had that little buckle in it, as you said. Finished off nicely, though. Surfed that wave as good as you possibly could. I think Mick understanding the fact that it's quite slow out there at the moment, wanting to get that 2-wave total going, which he has. So maybe not quite as good as his first wave, but it puts him in the lead.
Well, you'll find a 4:17 as a backup score for now. Still plenty of time remaining. And there you see mixed track record here at the location. Highlights being that final against Kelly Sader back in Macking Cloudbreak in 2013. Of course, last year quarterfinaling and doing a lot of celebration along with Taj Burrow's retirement.
Yeah, it was a special moment. Taj surfed incredibly well too. I think he almost had John against the ropes there with had he finished that one wave off. Both guys dropping a massive score. So it was a great event last year. Great event this year too. So Mick Fanning 4:17 puts him in the lead, but Perez just needing a small score, Gigs.
Well, Potts, when we came to broadcast, we heard Barton Lynch saying an important keynote, and that is it's time for the Parkinsons, the Slaters and the Fannings to make up ground now with the names like Owen Wright out. And well, of course, as he mentioned, Gabriel Medina falling out of the draw in that final encounter before we went on hold. And that was a great matchup with Italo Ferreira back from injury.
Yeah, it was. Italo Ferreira surfed incredibly well, just pretty much owned that heat. You know, the Brazilians surf together, hang together, travel together, but when they compete against each other, it's full on, let me tell you.
And of course, Ian Gouveia taking out Owen Wright. And another healthy rookie talent in Frederico Marias falling out of the draw, care of Julian Wilson. And Nat Wilkinson is through to round 4. So little moments to talk about in the lineup here, Potts.
Yeah, a bit of a mistake right there for Michel Perez. As a wave comes through now, Mick Fanning has priority. Michel Perez has to give way. And a definite blunder there from Michel Perez.
Mick will exercise the authority and get going here. Wave number 3. Just grinds out that first maneuver, now wraps it around second turn. It's tight in the pocket. Great backhand definition from Fanning. It's just those 3 hits, and now Michel Perez will try answer back. Second wave of the set, running on the leftovers of the opener. So it looks like first waves of the set right now, Potts, are the key.
Yeah. At the moment.
At the moment.
I mean, that can change, so you've got to really watch your game plan. Still plenty of time remaining, 22 minutes. Has Mick bettered his situation? Looking to better a 4:17 and increase that scoreline. At the moment, Michel Perez is needing a 2.84, so not much in it at the moment.
Potts, mid-tide conditions here. You mentioned during the lay days.
Yeah, this was the occasion. Michel Perez paddling, and you can see Mick putting his hand up, saying, "Yep, that was good enough for me." And then Mick taking that next wave off Michel Perez, trying to make him pay. That's what these good guys do. You know, they pounce on those opportunities, they pounce on those situations and really make you feel like you've made a big mistake. So can Mick Fanning improve his scoreline? Is that going to go into his top 2? I think it's borderline.
Well, young aspiring competitors, you don't have to catch the wave to lose the priority. Just those 2 arm strokes from Michel Perez, but it was on the wave face.
Oh, it's to show intent, you know, show that commitment.
Such a fine line, that, Potts.
It is, very much so. You can see halfway through that he put one hand on the nose of the board as if to say, I wasn't really having a look.
Not really paddling for it.
Yeah. I love it.
So strong opening right. Let's have a look. Let's break that down, Potts.
Yeah. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then he puts his hand on the nose of the board just to try and take the emphasis off that commitment. Unfortunately, a little bit too late there for Michel Perez.
And Mick just reminding the priority judge. Hey, buddy.
Did you see that?
Did you see that?
Yeah. Well, there's the scores, Gigs.
Yeah, well, numbers in. 4.77 slight improvement for Mick Fanning. So although the stronger ride in the heat to Perez, now strategic win for Mick Fanning as far as heat mechanics go. All that psychology, it's the same. Doesn't matter where you are, if you're competing in perfection or in broken beach break. All the same rules apply. All our 11 stops on Championship Tour takes the same approach. Now, talking about approach, Michel, who's been a great staller all week here, will overstall and possibly be frustrated right about now.
I think I like the first tube on Michel Perez's 7.0 because he didn't have to slow down for it. You know, he came driving through that section. That's what the judges want to see. That as soon as you've got to really slow down like that much, especially, you're wiping off so much speed. It doesn't look as dramatic. Like what's this first tube here from Michel Perez? I love the setup work, just taking it easy, making sure his feet are in the right place. Timing is everything in these little conditions. Now he draws off the bottom, pulls up high and drives through that section. That's what the judges liked about that 7-point ride, as opposed to his last one where he tried to slow down so much that it literally wiped off too much speed and ended up a wipeout. So great surfing on that opening occasion for Michel Perez.
Full package for a 7-point ride. As we join the action here, Michel Perez looking for something. And that one won't feed down the reef here at Cloudbreak. So quick in and out. Talking about those stall tactics, over-stalling on that previous ride, Potts. But we do have a little treat for you in a while. That awesome Michel Perez kick stall.
Yeah, that was
much to talk about with that.
Crazy. Just the core strength, the balance, and one of the most amazing tube techniques I think I've seen in quite some time.
Well, what's interesting, Potts, is we haven't seen Michel take a win in Tahiti yet. Let's go back and have a look at this awesome moment from round 1 of competition. Michel Perez and the much discussed kick stall.
Yeah, what a wave. I mean, these are the conditions that we had in the opening round for Michel Perez. Just amazing stuff from him. I mean, look at the size of the wave. The first section, that was more traditional style, and then the second part of the wave was almost acrobatic style of surfing. And as you can see, driving through this first section, traditional style of tube ride right there with the 3 points of contact. Both feet on the board with that right hand just giving him stability, using that left hand to feel the ocean, feel the speed of the wave, and that allows him to engage what part of the body is necessary to slow himself right down. And then the second part of the wave, as you can see, needing to slow down even more than normal. Michel Perez, if we stop it right about there, that part of his foot is completely disengaged from the surfboard, which is absolutely amazing. And if we continue forward with that, look at the body position from Michel Perez. Stop it there. The body position from Michel Perez is absolutely amazing. You can't really do that. I mean, look at that. Leaning over that front leg, really resting the chest on his front foot. 2 points of contact on that occasion. Michel Perez, what an amazing tube stance there from him. And he says that these guys have been doing it in Tahiti for quite some time. So unbelievable stuff right there.
Well, that stall had all the purists around the world absolutely loving it. Of course, guys like Gary Elkerton were saying that's got to be worth a 10. And the reason why I bring his name up, Potts, is because Michel Perez, by winning the Pipe Masters last year, joins an incredibly elite group of people that have won at all 3 locations that the Triple Crown is staged at. And only 3 people before Michel boast that: the great Mark Richards, Gary Elkerton himself, and the late Andy Irons.
Wow.
So Michel, by taking wins at Haleiwa, Sunset, and now being a Pipe Master, shows his all-round power skill.
Yes, and while we're watching Michel Perez in a monster barrel, this is what went down. And looking for his backup, looking to back that 7.0 up. You can see just a little bit more aggression in this wave here. And this is the new and improved Michel Perez. This is what's taken Michel to some wins and put him really as one of those danger men in all kinds of waves. I mean, you know, you talk about the barreling waves of Pipeline and Fiji and Cloudbreak and Tahiti, but then you look at him, some of his wins have been in really tricky beach break situations. One in Brazil, one in Margaret River. Those 2 waves for me, you know, probably the trickiest on the tour. So Michel Perez starting to become more that well-rounded surfer and has dropped another good score.
6.53 now sees the heat lead change in favor of Michel Perez again. means Mick Fanning now chases the 7.86. We constantly are updating those scores top left of screen. And of course, if you need to travel or be mobile, you can take us with you on your handheld device. The World Surf League app, the WSL app. Download that if you, for some reason, you haven't by now. Millions of people already have, and we love having you along for the ride here. And right now, Mick's got to go and find the best wave of the heat just yet, Potts. Really look at the 7 and now the 6.53 for the heat leader.
Yeah, 7.86. That's almost perfect. That's almost in excellent range. So it's going to take a certain type of wave, isn't it, Giggs, to accomplish that? He's got to be very patient now. 14 minutes to go. He can't. In the back of his mind, he thinks about the waves he's already had. That 5.67, that 4.77, sort of mid-range size wave. So now he's got to sit and wait, roll the dice on patience. And Mick is smart that way. He's going to. He knows sort of how to identify a good wave. He's been out here enough to know that. He's going to have to sit and play the patient game, and hopefully Mother Nature sends him a good wave.
Well, as we mentioned, Mick Fanning 11th on the Jeep leaderboard, jumped up a full 8 slots. Care of that quarterfinal finish at Bells, and then, well, a quarterfinals in Rio as well. Did lose to Jago Dora, of course, much spoken about that. We did see Jago Dora in the draw here, being rewarded, but falling out of competition.
Yeah, to Mick's credit, though, Jago took down 2 other world champions along the way as well. So John Florence and Gabriel Medina. He was the giant killer in that event.
Well, both surfers positioning in the lineup here. Let's throw it down to Barton Lynch. He'll have a clean perspective from us from the ferry angle.
Yes, interesting to see that exchange there, Giggs. The scoring, the 6.53 on a smaller ride indicates that normally you're looking for the set waves, and the big scores have traditionally been coming on those set waves. But given the inconsistent nature of the surf today, I think that score for Michelle Perez shows that you don't have to wait for the best ones. If you catch a smaller one and flare, as Michelle Perez is about to try and do here again, you'll get the score. That one bit short, and he's in and out on that one. But so, yeah, it seems that you don't necessarily have to get the best ones. If your performance is at that level that the judges are excited by, which Michelle did, I think he excited me. I didn't expect that amount of performance from him on that small wave, and I think, in that surprise came the score.
Biel, do you get to sample any of the conditions there this morning? Or have you got a bit of an idea on what's happening? Is it feeling like it's going to grow through the day?
Well, it's an interesting thing, Potts. I don't know that it feels like the swell's growing so much. It feels like it's here. Well, we're hoping it does grow, but it does feel like what we've got now is maybe what we're going to have through the day. There are some bigger lines pushing a little bit wider now from where the guys are sitting, and we know that down the inside, those wider ones are where the tubes are. Both guys are sitting quite high now, but there is a kind of ruffle on the surface of the ocean, which I think is residual bump from the winds that we've had the last few days. Still in the ocean, it's a little bit wobbly, but wave selection all important today, Potts. You've got to get those ones that hit the reef and let you get up and down in them to score the points. They don't necessarily have to be the big ones, but they've got to be the wally ones, the ones with face.
Well, thanks, Biel. Always great insights from Barton. Of course, 2 former world champions on the commentary team. What a privilege to be working alongside you guys. Potts, we've had a lot of time to reflect in the week off as to all the histories, all the chats. It's been great conversation. But right now it is the business part of competition again. Mid-tides here, so low tide around 3 hours out, Potts, and about 4 feet of tide to swing. So still about 2 feet of water to fall off the coral atoll here. So we see Michelle Perez in and out. Mick will pick up on that very same swell a little bit down the line. Here he goes. And, well, looking down the line for the tube section. But as BL said, a couple of bumps on the raw ocean. See now Michelle Perez again. So both competitors possibly repositioning here, Potts.
Yeah, well, you talk about there's different parts of the reef really that you can sit on. Obviously, where Mick is at the moment, that's kind of where, for me, most of the critical section is. The more scoring potential. But in saying that, the wave really runs off quick there. So the reason why they sit further up the point is to get that speed entering into that critical section. So you're going through there with a lot of speed.
Well, we've spoken a lot about our athletes in the water. We've spoken about conditions here. But one of the most important aspects we haven't touched on just yet, what are the judges looking for? Let's throw it down to Richie Porter. Good morning to you.
Good afternoon, gents. How are you?
Good afternoon. You're right. It's just slipped past midday here. Rich, we got a good insight from Barton Lynch there. Potts and I have been discussing it as well. The barrel still playing a part here this morning, and then, well, of course, the strong commitment to manoeuvres.
For sure. Well, Cloudbreak is all about the barrel, but as we're looking at it now, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot of that happening. We're hoping that it keeps filling in. So we saw Michelle's first wave with the 7, which had the little cover up, which was neat, and then some really nice turns through that inside section, and then his second wave, the 653, that had some slightly stronger turns on it, but just a little bit less of it. So at the moment, the boys are surfing pretty much turns, getting the scores, because there's no barrels out there, so you've got to do something on the wave, right? And Mick's 5, 6, 7 chasing that greater score. And we're seeing a little set sort of starting to fill in now, and we're hoping, and the surfers are definitely hoping, that we get some more sets to wrap into the bay here so that we can get some of those barrels in those critical sections.
Richie, how important is it to be on the set wave today, or can you manufacture a score on a mediocre wave?
It's not always about the size until we're in that big wave criterion. You look at Mick's 5, 6, 7, that was a pretty small wave. So you can get some decent scores, but obviously, as we all know out here, the bigger the wave at this size is going to allow you a better section to hit. And we'll just watch Mick here.
Well, Mick Fanning floats. It'll be an inconsequential score. And Richie, thanks for the great insight, just having that accessibility, Potts, to be able to throw it down and hear from the head judge himself. It really does help not only us, but the audience really understand what aspects are at play as we see a little paddle battle on the go here.
Well, both guys having a look at this. No priority just yet. So this is a very nervous moment right here.
Well, inside position, Mick Fanning will keep it moving here, Potts.
Wow, that was interesting.
Tight hit. And now he has a little opportunity to go behind the curtain. So it is tricky.
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting situation right there. Mick Fanning took off on a wave, kicked out, and then it was a neutral priority situation. So I'm not sure whether Michel Perez made an effort for that wave, but you can see Michel throws his hands up in the air saying, it kind of should have been my priority. Now he's got priority, but this could have really been an interesting part, Mick Fanning pulling under the lip there. So this wave not really panning out. Let's have a look. Mick up and riding. Floating maneuver, then Michel paddles for it.
Michel showed intention again.
So now both guys paddling out. Yeah, that was interesting.
Right.
Wow.
Live action, 6.5 to go. Mick Fanning chasing down a 786. Nice float. Beautiful, weightless flow again as he connects the dots. Another hammering. So we saw Michel applying himself to this inside section. Mick now doing the same. A little uncharacteristic slip there. So pushing hard in the tropical temperatures here. It was a lot warmer than what people might think. 17 degrees south of the equator. Could build up some body temperature pretty quickly, and of course that wax. What are your water temperatures? What are you calling it, Potts?
It's like a hot bath. And yeah, I mean your core runs hot really quickly out here. These guys putting a lot of effort, a lot of their own energy into creating speed and that down the line momentum. So these guys are going to the engine's going to run hot pretty quickly. 5.5 to go. Mick Fanning trying to get himself back in it. 7.86 is what he needed on that last wave.
Meanwhile, Michel will want to defend the lead, wants to improve scores. Already a big maneuver, little float. It's a bit complicated, and he'll exit quickly. He'll want to beat Mick Fanning back to the primary takeoff area here. He is higher up the reef, Potts, so we'll keep a close eye on this. As you mentioned, just moving down to, there's the overview. of positioning per athlete.
It's going to be interesting. I mean, it's neutral priority still at this point. Now it's up to the interpretation of the. Yep. So there, Michelle got the priority back. So it's kind of interesting situation because there's really 2 takeoff spots. So if Mick Fanning chooses to sit further down the line, is he going to get that priority? On that occasion, not getting it. So Michel Perez still holding that first priority. Scores coming through for Mick's last wave. Just not enough.
It is going to feature in his top 2 though, Potts, a 5.53. So it joins that set of numbers that currently count, but it does fall short of the 786. Mick Fanning in 2017 surfing to an average heat score of a 14.51. We look at current performances, including the Australian leg and Rio de Janeiro. We constantly tabulate and calculate. So you look at that 13.53 currently being held in hand by Michel Perez. Mick's got to go back to his averages here quite quickly with 3:45 to go. Interestingly enough, Potts, we pull those stats constantly. And I love it. I know your answer to this, right? Stats mean nothing. Throw it out the window.
Yeah.
But Michel Perez operating a 13.12 for 2017 thus far.
So he's kind of on track, 13.53 at this point.
Well, Michel Perez already improving on his last effort in Rio. Lost in round 2 to Jadson Andre. So you see 2 new competitors arriving in the zone. That is your next heat teeing up. Yellow jersey of John Florence taking on Leonardo Fioravanti. And time is slipping away for Mick Fanning here.
Yeah, quite quickly. 2 minutes and 50 seconds on the dot right now for Mick to somehow manufacture a fairly chunky score. 7.86 required. Mick Fanning got out the blocks firing. He really got the ball rolling quickly. Tricky conditions here. A 5.67 on his first wave. Nice, clean, beautiful surfing. I mean, not much more he could have done on that wave, to be honest with you. Kind of let him down towards the end. That dynamic finished it. I really think you need Michel Perez, though. I love this approach. Just nice, casual, cool, calm, collected to get the ball rolling. Now he starts to find that inside runner. Ducks under it. A little bit of shade time there. Comes out and again just unloads some big turns. What's the difference between the end of this wave compared to Mick's? You can see how it's a bit more vertical, a bit more critical. Allows Michel Perez a couple of beautiful turns, and there, right there, to finish off with that turn. Created that 7.0, but Michel Perez not finished. Again, just a vertical approach, a little bit more aggressive, a bit more power. And I love the style of Michel Perez, extending that back leg, throwing buckets of water out the back of the wave. And again, just rattling off maneuver after maneuver, gives himself a giddy up, and a 6.53 on that occasion, finds himself in the lead with 1:40 to go. And Michel Perez done all the hard work, got the lead and priority, so really controlling this heat.
Potts, 90 seconds to go, as you said. And interesting to note, both surfers' opening rides still counting. You see that work rate. And here we go, Michel Perez is going to sit behind the curtain. It is a small wave, but he's going to tick the box for a tube. And that's all. No maneuvers to add to that effort. Now Mick Fanning, to find the 786, has got to find the best wave of the heat thus far. Still in with a shot here.
Yeah.
Fairly consistent now. Lots of little pulses.
Lots of little ones at the moment, but
using the word little, right?
Really needs something a bit more open face, something along the lines of Michel's first wave.
Yep.
It's borderline excellent score, 7.86, 35 seconds remaining, gigs. And we talked about wave selection before this heat started was going to really be what these guys are going to be looking for, and Michel Perez kind of picked the eyes out of it. Got that first score, and what generally happens here at Cloudbreak, good waves come in clusters. Good waves are contagious out of Cloudbreak. Once you get one, you almost seems like you find another one pretty quickly.
Well, Mick Fanning here now facing the reality of a round 3 exit at the outer-known Fiji Pro. Last time that happened to him, Potts, was back in 2005. So this is going to not be a great trip after a week's waiting for Mick Fanning. But Michel Barrez will celebrate a journey through to round 4 here. The worst that he can do now is finish 9th. But it is a 13th place finish for Mick Fanning in that opening heat of the day's competition here.
Yeah, Mick's not going to be happy with that. Michel Barrez, you can see, it was a tough heat, that one. Not many waves on offer.
Beautiful cloud break, plays host to the world's best. We'll take a quick break and then we'll be back with John Florence taking on Leonardo Fioravante.
Going up against John in the heat, it's incredible.
John making it quite clear what he's going to do, and that is light this place up.
I feel I'm pretty confident out there. I know how to get barreled pretty well.
The young Italian has come out firing. Backhand barrel, beautifully deep, slotted into that tube.
I'm just going to go out there and try and pick the best waves and enjoy it. You know, whether I win or lose. If I lose, I lost against John Florence. I mean, he's the best surfer in the world right now. So just want to go out and have fun and enjoy it and showcase some talent and hopefully perfect cloud break.
Well, the talent oozes out the seams here with a great heat on paper. The reigning world champion John Florence takes on one of the most exciting rookies to join the sport of surfing, Leonardo Fioravante. I'm Gig Saliers alongside the 89 world champion Martin Potter as you join us here at Cloudbreak in Fiji. And it might be beautiful scenes, but it's gnarly competition.
Yeah, Gigs, did you order the boat? I think your boat's arrived.
Is that not Strider's boat?
Yeah, but you know, you said it. Talent bursting out of the seams here in this heat. You know, such a smart head on the shoulders of young Leonardo Fioravante. You know, a bit of a slow start to the year for him, a little bit of a different pressure, but you know, weird things happen when you find that first win. You almost find, okay, that's it. I just needed to get that win under my belt, get the ball rolling. But in saying that, he's got the best surfer in the world at the moment, John Florence, to contend with.
Well, big heat for Leonardo Fioravante. We got that insight from him. Of course, he's up against one of the best, and let's say one of the most popular surfers, and for very good reason, Potts. This guy, an all-rounder in 1 foot waves and in Waimea Bay, right?
Yeah,
it's incredible.
And some, I mean...
His resume, if we start reading it, it'll take the whole day, right?
Well, he's good in the tube, he charges big waves, he's got an air game second to none. He's got a really smart head on his shoulders, competitive-wise as well. Surfs heats really well. So, I mean, it's tough to beat him. I mean, where would you... There is no weaknesses, really, is there?
Nope. What a great talent, John. Of course, he served his rookie appearance back in 2011, along with Gabriel Medina. propelled at that mid-year rotation up into the championship tour level. Of course, Medina would write a much more successful story as a rookie, taking wins. Took John a little time to get into gear, but his next full year on tour finished 4th, so really justified his appearance at the top level of the sport. Now boasts 5 championship tour wins, but it was consistency back through 2016, along with a couple of titles that saw John go all the way to the top of the Jeep leaderboard and be crowned. Barton Lynch, you got some insight for us? Let's throw it down to you.
Yes, Giggs, both guys are way up the point right now to start this heat. You can see John wanted the inside. Leonardo was not going to give it to him. He's pushed each other way up the line. They're now making their way back. John kept pushing and pushing, then realised, hey, Leonardo is not going to give it to me. I'm going to start backing back. And the minute he started backing back to the main peak, Leonardo started doing the same thing. So a little cat and mouse from positioning at the start of this one. And John's having a look at this little insider. It hasn't got a lot of wall. Not sure if it's going to run. No, he's not going to go that one. But yeah, a little cat and mouse. It was interesting. Leonardo stopped. He watched the 6.53, that smaller wave of Michel Berez's. He stopped, watched it on the replay, and you saw his mind click, and you saw him go, you know, because obviously against John Florence, you would be thinking, I need the best waves against this guy. He's the best surfer in the world. I've got to get the best waves to beat him. But you could see something click in him, and he realised that, hey, if my performance is good enough and I flare out of the top, maybe I don't need the very best waves, because Michel just won a heat without getting the very best waves and getting scores on waves by surfing, not so much just wave selection.
Well, great insights from Barton Lynch. Thanks so much, BL. And Pot's important point that BL makes there is that you can manufacture those scores on that inside section.
Yeah, and you know, we got the word from Richie as well. Richie Porter, our head judge, you know, touching on that, where you don't necessarily need the biggest wave to get the good scores. It's how you surf those waves. Once the waves start getting solid and we start seeing those bigger set waves come through, then obviously they will be you know, the more important ones to get. But at this point in time, it's get your scores under your belt, try and find those little openings, and you can see cat and mouse right here from John Florence and Leonardo Fioravanti. Leo just not wanting to give up that inside position, kicking and scratching. John trying to push him too deep. You can see just turning, keeping the kid moving.
Potts, this stuff gets your juices flowing.
I love it. I love it. This is how we used to have to surf an entire heat, just trying to maintain that inside position. Before priority came into fruition, it was all about that, positioning yourself, getting the inside and not giving it up, holding your opponent off waves. There was instances where you can literally stop your opponent from catching a wave the entire heat. So priority came in because of that. We weren't seeing enough surfing being done. We saw guys that could hassle better than surf and were winning. So the rules changed, and we saw a lot more surfing.
Well, of course,
thankfully,
surf coaches and competitors can be using this type of heat start as a reference as to how to own that inside. Of course, no priority is allocated before the first ride is actually undertaken.
Now, generally, okay, we'll get back to that in a sec. John not having a look. If we get down to the 20-minute mark and no one's caught a wave, depending on what the head judge thinks, we may get a restart. But because of their positioning, because of the fact that they pushed each other so far up, was there rideable waves down in the zone? And if there was, they will get no restart.
Yep, good point you make there, Potts. I've seen that happen a couple times. Remember that happening at Jeffreys Bay as well?
Seen it happen here as well with Chloe Andino and Gabriel Medina. They pushed each other way up the point, and there was no heat restart. So you've got to be careful with that.
Well, we saw at some stages about 50, 60 yards between Michel Berez and Mick Fanning's positioning on the reef. Now John trying to break away here, putting about 20, 25 yards between his opponent, and that wide shot.
See all the waves down the inside here. I've got a funny feeling we may not see the restart.
Well, let's throw it down to Barton Lynch, because he's down there with amongst the competitors. What have you got for us, BL?
Well, one of the future competitors, it's Kayla here. Mick Fanning's come in. What did he say to you?
Well, I'm so happy to caddy for Mick Fanning today, and well, he tried so hard to win his heat, and I really thank him. Today's his birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about that board under your arm? I heard that's now your board.
Yeah, I know. I'm so happy. Thank you.
So how exciting is that? Mick Fanning came in on his birthday, and Kayla was caddying for him and said, hey, this board's for you, and gave her that board. You stoked?
Yeah, I'm so stoked. Thank you so much.
Oh, wow.
Maybe one day we'll see you out there on that board in the competition, huh?
Yeah.
There you go, boys. Good
Wow.
vibes all around down here.
Oh, wonderful heartwarming moments here in Fiji. Of course, the wonderful host nation playing host to the world's best.
She's not letting that go, man.
No,
I'll tell you
she's
right
clutching
now.
it. She's clutching it, Pods.
That's amazing, and that's a testament of the human being that Mick Fanning is. I mean, you know, we talk about unbelievable role model, one of the best of all times in our sport, and that's why, because he's such a great human. Put aside all the accolades, all the stuff that he's done.
Yep.
Take that all away, and he does stuff like that.
Well, of course,
Amazing.
yeah, I know, incredible stuff. So we will get to hear from Mick Fanning a little bit later on. Right now, out in the water, no rides activated just yet for either John Florence nor Leonardo Fioravanti. They have done some repositioning here, Potts. Seem to have tracked a little bit further back down the reef, probably a little bit more square on in front of the judges' tower. That wind is lying down for us. A little bit of sea breeze out the back. Noticing still quite a smallish interval, Potts. Not big gaps between waves 1 and 2 of the sets here. And now John will show interest. He's going to jump on board this. So first ride, now we go. Backhand hit. The surfer, John, incredible amount of skateboard influence in his surfing approach. You see, he just keeps it swinging. He knows how to push the rail, knows how to chop the turn short as well. And there's that little skate off the coping ditch there. And so John, good work to get wave number 1 done.
Wow, good work to get it underneath the inside position of Leo Fioravanti as well. I mean, Leo's keeping a very close eye on what John was doing, but maybe a missed opportunity for the young Italian.
And of course, John will have been watching very carefully how Mick and both Michelle, both the previous competitors, approached the lineup here, Potts.
Yeah, well, Leo just a little bit too far out on this occasion, and John just goes to town on this wave. Just the speed that he carries through his maneuvers, obviously this wave today not pushing as hard as what it normally does, but it doesn't matter. We talk about the agility, we talk about the adaptability this kid has from 2-foot waves that we've got today, showing some variety. He is just as good in big waves, and that is the crazy thing with this guy. That's why he's got that yellow jersey on, Diggs. Taking this wave underneath Leo Fioravanti and kind of making the kid pay. Beautiful little wave there, series of nice turns, and then finishing strong. So a score on the board. There will be no restart. 22 minutes to go.
Well, folks at home will be trying to think about a number for that wave, Potts. I mean, we think it's the scale that Michelle Perez set.
I'm thinking
John right up amongst it.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's in that 6.5 to 7-point range.
Lots of fluidity.
Lots of fluidity. That's the thing that's impressive with that wave, is connecting the dots. There was no downtime in that wave. You know, kept the board moving, kept that momentum going, and it's super important to do that out here. That stop-start surfing is not going to cut it out here. Got to get that nice flow, that nice rhythm to the wave, and once you get that board swinging, that's what John's got going on here from the get-go. So he's pumping, getting his feet in the right spot. First turn, very important. It just sets everything up for him. He just keeps that board moving rail to rail, no downtime on this wave, just teeing off. Every turn is a little bit different as well, and then finishes off strong with a little bit of a sliding motion. You can see the fins out the back of that wave, so good surfing there from John Florence.
Well, Leonardo Fioravanti's turn now. He comes from deep, building speed. Struggles his way past a bit of a lip slam there. Now gets it up for the first maneuver. Around to join the second one. Now down the line, the wave's got a bit of taper, and Leonardo can keep it swinging as well here. So great showdown of backhand turns. And Leo all the way through the inside section as well. So great opening exchange, actually. Going to be a hard split for the panel.
Yeah, just a little bit of an awkward start that wave from Leo. A little bit off balance to kick things off, but then really did get the ball rolling. So a nice comeback for Leo on that occasion. We see a little trickle of scores coming through. Words of wisdom from the very knowledgeable Stephen Bell, who's been in the corner of Kelly Slater for a number of years. And scores dropping for John, as I thought, kind of in that 6.5 to 7 point range. Gigs.
One more judge to lock in. Seen a couple of numbers pepper in. 6.5 amongst it, Potts. A couple 7s waiting for one more judge. Of course, a panel of 5. The computer then averages it out by eliminating the highest and lowest opinions and averaging out the remaining 3. And it's going to square up at a 7. So good job there, Potts. Done this before, eh? And well, there's the comparison of numbers. So in favor of John by a point and some loose change, a 5, 6, 7 now in for wave number 1. John scratches over the ledge here. It is a little baby ledge, but there's power. Even these small waves draw quick off the reef here. As John clicks a turn, little taper, floats it nicely, brings that weight onto the front foot. And how about that stab? Wow. Nice little flare there from John. Little aggressive speed up of that final maneuver. Posting wave number 2 for us.
There was a part of that wave that I want to check out and slow it down a little bit, because he literally got such a pop off the bottom turn that the board left the water. Not on the top turn, on the bottom turn. So you can tell just there's a sweet spot that John has in his boards, that once that foot gets there, you can really get that click, really get that pop. And it was off the bottom turn. Let's have a look as he races down the line. First turn, just setting it up, waiting for it. Now he starts to connect. Now he starts to get going right. Watch this bottom turn right here. Boom. See the board literally leave the water. You could see the fins from the bottom.
He literally hopped it.
Yeah,
right.
I literally got so much spring in his step, even in these small waves. It's right after this turn here. Bam, right there. I mean, it's you know, you might not think much of that, but that's what gave him that speed going into that last maneuver. So incredible stuff there from John.
While the panel work on the second ride of John, Leo will activate as well. That's a strong turn, good definition, and that is a very strong turn to back it up. So Leo goes to work here. Little slopey section now. In fact, it's a little double up on the inside. So pushing it all the way through.
Wow.
And a nice reply.
That was yeah, amazing. And standing up on the reef, not really recommended, but Leo's adrenaline's pumping right now. He's got the world's best to contend, to try and contain, I should say. Waiting for both those second ride scores, and I think Leo might get the advantage on this one. Let's have the first turn. Nice and vertical in the pocket. And again, beautiful snap there from Leo Fioravanti. Just seamless, beautiful surfing. Powerful, in the pocket, critical. Combination of turns, nice flow there. Finished off nice and strong. So Stephen Bell will be happy with that exchange. Is that the best wave of the heat? Could quite possibly be.
He was definitely showing the strength that Michelle did. You know, that real strong stance.
Well, you could tell he cranked it up. There was conviction, there was confidence, there was, you know, everything that you really need to take down the world's best. And in saying that, there's the score.
Well, now those numbers will tell a strong story. An 8.33 for Leo Fioravanti. John Florence a 4.67. So how about that? Nearly double the points with those 2 big hits from Leo. It's exactly on point with what Richie Porter was saying. And we'll see now. John is holding priority. Likes the look of this. And so he'll glide in. Just miss his opponent. Watch the double up section now. Double ups often mean tubes, and John will go impossible angles here. And 2 of them. So lots of flow from John. brings a little bit more aggression to wave number 3. Tight swell period here on the edge of the Coral Atoll, as Leo now will go up into that top corner as well. Now, nice strong vertical approach. The wave slows down and he changes his gears. Another little pocket ahead for Leo, and it's super shallow in here, and he'll just click it away. So great showdown here, and these guys really grinding out on the inside section, Potts.
Well, this is what Leo did last year. I mean, he came out and fired against some of the world's best and made some upsets along the way. So far this year, we haven't seen that kind of surfing from Leo. What it took was for him to win a heat, and that's exactly what he's done here in Fiji at the Unknown Pro. But he's found this certain sense of confidence again that we've sort of been missing through the first part of this year. Is he going to better his situation? I think so. I think John is as well. I think this is better than his 4.67. You can see Leo trying to get out of his way. John weaves around him, kind of gives him like, well, what are you doing, kid? Get out of my way. And this turn right here, amazing. Upside down and then into that float. Critical drop right there for John Florence, needing a 7.01, and then right behind him, Leo Fioravanti, trying to back up that 8.33. Nice free fall drop. Watch this turn. Bang, nice and vertical. Beautiful rotation. Keeping that board right in the power source, not getting too far down the line, making sure those turns are done right in the critical part of the wave, maximizing his scoring potential. Both guys are going to better their second highest scores.
Well, nitty-gritty competition going on here in Cloudbreak. Judging panel will bring some catch-up on the numbers. As you mentioned, Potts, an important heat win in round 2 for Leonardo Fioravanti, taking out Ace Buchan.
That was a tough heat.
Tough heat.
Yeah.
Think about Ace's track record and credibilities here at this location. It was a big win for Leo.
Huge win. I mean, Ace Buchan is one of the toughest guys out here. I mean, he's a wave magnet. He's always on the good ones. Scores dropping for John's last ride, though. It does better his situation. Needing a 7.01, just not enough.
6.33 in for John, but a better 7.57 on the scorecard for Leonardo Fioravanti. So the last 2 exchanges leaning in favor of the young rookie. There's that panel of 5 opinions. One of them went as high as an 8.3, Potts.
Wow. So they like that surfing done right in the critical part of the wave, right in the pocket. So you got to try and find those waves that kind of slow up a little bit, right? Yep. Instead of those real racy ones that allow you those big vertical snaps and then literally come straight down where you went up. So you're not really wasting any of the wave.
Yeah. Whereas John's wave was very lateral in track, but had amazing angles to it. I mean, where he was under that lip was incredible. But that vertical approach for a 7.57 sees Leonardo Fioravanti out ahead in this encounter. And we'll take a little break here. It is the first break of the day. Enjoy it with us. We'll be back shortly. And another big heat with Kelly Slater coming up next.
The yellow Jeep Leaders jersey, it makes you a little bit nervous having it, for sure.
John Florence on the top of the Jeep leaderboard.
At the same time, I'm really happy to be in this position coming into Fiji and coming into this part of the year.
John Florence on a bomb.
John, making it quite clear what he's going to do, and that is light this place up.
John Florence in the barrel traveling through there. No problem for John to come out of that.
Cloud Break's an amazing wave. I love surfing this wave, and I'm sure it's going to be an amazing event.
John Florence moves on. We're back in competition as you join us with that yellow jersey. John Florence trailing in this round 3 encounter. Of course, there you see how narrow the point split is. Only 350 points separate John from a hungry Geordie Smith and an enthusiastic Adriana de Souza. We have lost Owen Wright.
Yep.
What a story in 2017 again.
What a year it's becoming. It's just unbelievable. You know, we keep saying, you know, every year how good it is, and it just keeps getting better and better with a talent pool. I mean, it's, you know, no more of those guys running away with this world title race. It is tight, and there is a bunch of guys that are throwing their hats into the ring. They want this title, that's for sure.
Well, Potts, the sobering part of this story right here, with a little under 9.5 to go, is an 8.9 is the requirement from John Florence to take the lead from Leo Fioravante. What a script.
Yep, and look where Leo is. He is dropped the anchor right next to John. He has priority. And now his job really is to maybe try and play a bit of defense and try and ruffle the feathers of the champ.
Well, of course, fantasy surfing picks right now will be under some pressure because 90% of you have picked John Florence, single highest pick, with an 83.33 heat win percentage this year so far. Let's see what John can unlock. You're starting to think progression here, Potts.
Yep.
And, just a misplaced footing. So we saw clear intention there from John.
And he's one of those guys that can do that. I mean, talk about having, you know, not just the tube riding prowess, but also the air game that is second to none. I mean, this kid can do pretty much anything. So in that Medina sort of category where he can turn an average wave into a big score.
Freak.
Yeah.
Of course, so much of a wonderful career already celebrated with the young Hawaiian, now owning a world title. Of course, the reigning world champion for the year. He doesn't get to wear the yellow jersey because he is the reigning world champion. It's because of his current form. He's out front ahead of the pack, and he will not want to take a loss here in round 3. That's what Mick Fanning was saying, but he did go down to a informed Michelle Burres. Michelle is down there with Barton Lynch.
Michelle Burres, a heat win, pretty inconsistent and a bit of cat and mouse out there. How were the conditions?
The conditions were pretty tricky at the start of the heat. It was all wobbly, like we couldn't pretty much see which one was the best ones, you know. But after my first wave, I knew like I needed like a small score just to like put pressure on him and stuff, and that actually worked.
You banked that 7. That was a great start. And then, as you said, Mick had those sort of a 5 and a 4, and he was in the lead just. Then you got that 6.53, and that was a real turning point because the wave was most probably a 4, and you surfed it into a 6.53.
Yeah, exactly. I thought myself like, okay, I need a 5, just so then, you know, he might need a 6 or something, you know. So then he's gonna have to wait for more, you know, more options. And then I was out there and I could see him like way at the back was kind of pushing him. So I told myself like, okay, I'm just going to go next to him. So because I could see like there was no waves over there. So I just told myself, okay, I'm just going to sit next to him and try to make him go on any kind of waves. And actually didn't work because he's about to back out all the way inside. So it's okay. It's Mick Fanning, man. Like, I'm sorry. I hate to hustle, like especially good friends. And it's part of what we do. And, you know, like Mick is unbelievable, you know. He's Mick Fanning. Like there's nobody like him. Yeah.
And it's not so much hassling though. It was like smart use of priority, really, right? And there was a couple of situations with a bit of confusion around the priority too.
Yeah, it's not their fault. Like we both like paddle on the same wave, and then we're like paddling back out there, and there was that little one that came through, and I wanted it, and he wanted it too. So we were like, we didn't know what was going on. So I told myself like, okay, he's inside, so I'm just gonna let him go and see what's gonna happen. but at the end of the day, he worked out well, and you know, it's super hard to sit at the, like you tell yourself, okay, this is where you need to be sitting at, but it's not like, it's moving so much, and the pick is moving as well, so you know, there's missed opportunities and stuff, but yeah.
You didn't miss too many, mate. Well done, well played, and congratulations on the win of the first heat of the day, and the rest of the day off.
Vinaka.
Wow. Geeks.
Wow. Well, while Michel Perez was paying homage to someone's birthday, McFanning, this important number has arrived, an 8.5, a power play, holding position pots. He played his decision very well.
I'll tell you what, we talk about having priority at the right time and then capitalizing on that opportunity. Just under 5 minutes remaining, and Leo drops an 8.5.
Wow.
Increases his score. John needing a 9.83. Let's have a look at this wave. A bigger set wave. This is a little bit more like it. Watch his first turn. Just hooking into it. Beautiful positioning right there. And again, straight into the next maneuver, throwing a bit of tail out the back. And again, rattling off 3 solid turns. Finishing strong as well. Leo Fioravanti is on fire. We talk about that confidence. It is back. The Italian stallion is really putting some pressure on the world champ, that's for sure. Solid turns there from Leo. I love that little sliding maneuver, showing some variety. Combination of major maneuvers is what the judges want to see. And then finish strong, finish with conviction, which is what he does. Standing tall, that felt good. 8.5, 2 judges, 2 9s at that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, interesting 4 minutes to play here. John Florence with a massive requirement of a 9.83 now. You start wondering, how is he going to unlock that? Let's throw it down to Strider Wasilewski. He's amongst it there with the coaches. Have you got any insight for us, Strider?
Yeah, through the morning we've had, you know, a good little surf, little warm-ups out here. The boys out here in the lineup having some good waves. And, well, Leo settling into a board, looking really good, on point, really solid, as well as Michel Perez. So the 2 guys that I saw kind of dominating this morning, looking like they're going to, you know, jump through. We can't say that completely now, though, because John definitely could be, you know, he's so dangerous out here. You never know what he's going to do and what he's going to have. But he has made a mistake in this heat. He took a subpar wave and switched over the priority, and then Leo made him pay for it big time. So he's up against it, needs a big score. We'll see if he can do it. I don't know. The conditions, though, really kind of really hard to read. You know, all morning it's been off and on. It went dead glass. Now we got a little bit of wind picking up again. So we'll see what happens through the morning as this thing kind of plays out. Right now, ocean looking a little sleepy for John.
Well, thanks so much, Strider. That's the reality of John Florence's day here in Fiji. 2.5 to go, Potts. A 9.83, question marks abound. How would he do that?
Innovation.
Okay.
And progression. I think he's going to have to. I mean, time ticking away, 2 minutes. Generally could have broken that 9.83 into 2 waves, bettered both of his scores, but with the time ticking away now, it's just going to have to be some sort of Hail Mary, which is what Strider said. I mean, you just never know with John Florence. I mean, the kid's a world champion for a reason. One of the best in the world for a reason. Let's see if he can do something special here to finish off this heat.
Well, Strider did also say it felt like the ocean was just having a little bit of a sleepy patch. Of course, the Hawaiian contingent, of course, Ross Williams out in the water there with him, will be willing a wave with 1:45 to go here. So strange turn of events here. We've lost Owen Wright. We've lost Gabriel Medina in the defending event champion. And now John Florence is staring down a saltwater shotgun barrel here.
Oh, nicely put. 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. John with priority, though, so all he needs is, you know, I mean...
He needs a wave like Leo picked out of the lineup a few minutes back.
Exactly right. He needs a, you know, that 8.5 wave of Leo's last one. A couple of big turns, maybe a big air reverse at the end. That 9.83 as well within range with John. He's a absolute super freak. One of the most naturally talented surfers out there, that's for sure. Big set coming through at the back. 50 seconds remaining. This is it right here.
Well, Potts,
what's he got?
We've done all the discussion.
Oh,
now
my.
we are glued. And A wave is going to get gifted here to the world champion. Let's have a go here. John Florence down the line. It's a big section. He'll lance into it. He's not going to find his way around. And a big meaty wave will not offer up the score. And guess who's on the next one of the set? It is your heat leader, the young rookie. Knifes it. Now loads up a second turn. Doing this all in the face of John Florence, because Leonardo Fioravante has almost certainly wrapped this up as we slip inside of 10 seconds to go. We'll concentrate on what John can still find anything. The answer's no. Potts, huge upset here, and a deserving win for the rookie against the world's best.
Wow, unbelievable stuff there from Leo Fioravanti. A well-deserved win. I mean, the kid put a great heat together, started well, started solid, and then just got better and better, dropping an 8.5 on his last big score and really applying the pressure on the world champ. So that crazy year of upsets continues. John coming off the back of a pretty bad result for him in Brazil, follows it up with another
round 3 exit.
Round 3 exit, so not a good back-to-back results for John Florence, but plenty of time remaining in the year. But for that kid right there, he's going to be feeling on top of the world.
Well, Leonardo Fioravanti gets to break his string of 25th. It's a big moment for the rookie. And another big heat coming up next. Geordie Smith takes on Jean Deroux. In comes Ronnie Blakey and Rosie Hodge.
Welcome back to the outer-known Fiji Pro. Strato Wazalewski hanging out with this man right here, Leo Fioravanti. Leo, absolutely capitalizing on a blunder from the current world champ. You know, he let a wave go, and you made him pay.
Yeah, I mean, the waves are really fun, and I just got into a good rhythm. And my mom always tells me that I surf better on my backhand, so all I kept thinking of was what my mom always says, and you know, I just tried to hit those lips as hard as I could, and it paid off.
Yourself, along with Michelle this morning, you know, in that mid-morning warm-up, looking really good out there. Did you build some confidence on the warm-up?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a little bigger than what we've been surfing all week, and it's the same board that I've been surfing all week, so I felt really confident. Even though we're not getting barreled, it's one of the best waves in the world. We're just doing turn off to turn, and it's just a dream to even surf 3 to 4 foot cloud break with no one out. We might get caught here.
We might get caught inside here. We'll go underneath this one, but congratulations, buddy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Strider. Congratulations to Leonardo there, getting a huge win, a massive upset in the top half of the draw. Those top seeds have been absolutely decimated as we get set now to see another real contender here in Fiji. Hit the lineup. It's going to be Geordie Smith up against another rookie, Juan Deroux. Ronnie Blakey here with a former championship tour surfer, Rosie Hodge. Rosie, good to see you again.
Good to see you, Ronnie. It's been a couple of days, so happy to head this side of the island again and get into the booth and watch some of the action unfold.
And let's see now if Geordie Smith can capitalise. A great opportunity for him. The only person above him on the ratings, now out of the mix, but he does have a tough draw. Juandaru has been surfing very well on the off days. And these two, last time they met down at Bells Beach, fireworks, plenty of big turns throwing down. And we just know that this youngster, Juandaru, despite being a rookie and not having too much experience in this lineup, he has the kind of turns, Rosie, that can match it with Geordie.
Well, what we've seen from the conditions today, I really think that these lower seeds have been capitalizing and just really being mindful of what the judges are scoring out there. We saw Leo take out John and Michelle Perez took out Mick Fanning, so there's definitely equal opportunity out there. But I think you mentioned Juandaru and his performance out here the other day, and he's looking tack sharp.
Has already knocked one of the more experienced competitors out here at Cloudbreak out of the mix in Connor Coffin in the second round, Juandaru. And Geordie Smith, he was one of the better competitors on day one. Didn't see too much of his barrel riding prowess on the backhand, but I felt like his approach off the bottom was just a little bit more critical than we've seen here in Fiji in years gone by. And you can really tell he's been working hard on trying to get that backhand, I think, up to par with some of the other title contenders.
Definitely. I think, Geordie was one of the first to admit the other day on the post show just how hard he's been working on his backhand. It was what he cited as a weakness in his surfing. So to see him go to the rail and go to that backhand approach and really get so vertical and also be able to mix it up. I mean, it was barreling on that first day of competition, but he decided to go to the rail. So Geordie's got a well-rounded act out here at Cloudbreak.
Well, Geordie Smith was the roadblock for the Frenchman, getting past the third round down at Bells Beach. We'll see if Juan can get one back on him here. Tricky conditions, though. I think that's really evened up the playing field, but the top half of the draw is going to be super interesting from here on out. I think that in the top half of the draw, we've said goodbye to all the favourites for this particular contest. So, someone's going to be ploughing through those rounds on the top half and looking for their first victory here in Fiji.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just seeing, Mick Fanning fall out of the draw. He hasn't won out here in Fiji before, but that really does open up that opportunity for the number 2 surfer in the world, Geordie Smith, to really gain some ground. And I mean, how exciting for Geordie to see John bow to the competition at this stage. He still has to surf this round 3 heat, but it's got to give him that extra bit of zing.
We might try and get a look at the ratings at some point too. We know it's been heavily stacked at the top end. 3 surfers currently in equal second position on the leaderboard. Matt Wilkinson's still alive in the draw, already through to the 4th round, so he's going to be making up some ground on Owen Wright. Adriano de Souza yet to surf his 3rd round heat coming up later today against Stu Kennedy. But it is going to be super interesting now because John Florence, carrying a couple of 13ths now, can't afford to slip up. He was in a much better position this year than he was last season. But you just have to look at Fiji as an opportunity for him to bank yet another result that's going to go towards a world title, and he's fallen short of that this year.
Yeah, I mean, Fiji is something that John would mark as a pet event for himself. I think this is one of the events that's really gone begging for him, up there with the Park Masters. So I think he'd be pretty disappointed taking home the 13th here at Cloudbreak again.
Florence processing the loss. Still plenty of events where he can bank victories. Did make the final at Jeffreys Bay last year. Tahiti's another one of those contests where you just know he's going to claim a win at some point in his career.
Definitely. And I think, for John, it's disappointing. We mentioned him being so unbelievable in waves like Cloudbreak when it turns on, but also the fact that every single day he's been out there surfing, training, and just immersing himself in this lineup. So,
all right, action here in Heat 7 of round 3, and it's Geordie Smith has a section to work with here. Speeding transition float to get back out in front on this open face. Let's see if it stands up for a couple more hits on the inside. Banging off that lip. swinging that big board around with ease, and he'll kick out. You can tell that it's a pretty jumbled up lineup at the moment. Not really that clean running cloud break wall we're used to. And that's opened the door for some of these youngsters. And Joan Daru just glides through a beautiful first turn. Again, dips that rail in the water. Bit of a back foot jam there. He's going to finish with a little bit more clean face on the inside here. So one of the better looking waves we've seen this afternoon. And Joan Daru, well, he is bashing this thing right through to the inside, the 27-year-old. And it just keeps providing for him. Well, it's going to be hard to find waves as good as that in the remainder of this heat. 26 minutes to go. Joan Daru is about to put a decent number up.
Yeah, that was a great exchange from both the surfers. Joan Daru was just given a gift there. Yeah, Ronnie, you mentioned that tricky lineup and just that extra water to work with. Almost seemed like Geordie had widened his stance to kind of incorporate and maneuver through all of that bump and lump. Or Joan Daru, this wave just seemed to bowl up for him. I love the contrast of the forehand surfing on this wave. You know, a couple clean cuts. Decides to vary it up there with the layback. And then the float. So Joan Daru really picks up a lot of speed here. I think the judges are going to lap this up just because he was able to throw that bit of variety into this wave, stayed clean with the pocket, and really got to work. Those legs would be burning at this stage of the ride.
Cramping up just watching it. But here we go. Here's Geordie on the replay now. His wave, not quite as clean, but still some big turns executed.
Yeah, for sure. That float right there was very dynamic. It gave him a lot of speed to come around on this section, but could see that he was always just waiting for it to wall up and offer him opportunity to bash the lip. I think that's the difference with Joan Daru's wave. It really had that opportunity where it walled up in front of him and he could kind of map out his surfing. Geordie had a lot of lump on this wave to contend with. You can see that on this replay. This dynamic maneuver really set him up with a lot of speed to get around this section. So he does well to connect every single section of this wave, but it still seemed tricky to really get that board going. He had to do a lot of work.
Yeah, just having to stick so close to that bowl because there wasn't a lot of wall on that wave. It was really just a pocket kind of sidewinding down the reef here. Joan Daru picking off. Easily the best wave we've seen of the event today. And he actually let go of a number of very strong turns. And there's the reward, a 9.2. So another upset on the cards here. Geordie Smith's going to have to work hard to get past the Frenchman now.
Yeah, I've seen, an interesting pattern with those last two heats. The surfers who put up that big number in the first exchange.
Oh, he's up again and stalling for the barrel now. Joan Daru, he's going to push through this curtain. A nice bowling face to deal with.
Wow.
Throws down a nice carve. He's amping. So 9.2 on his first wave. Nice little barrel. Came out, let go of a good carve. He'll probably better Geordie's 4.83.
Yeah.
He's going to be holding a good little lead here.
Going to have to agree with you, Ronnie, and just so invigorated. As he came out of that barrel, he knew that he was going to have to really just get all of the worth out of it. You can see that stall there, almost getting pushed out to the side, but maintains that pocket ride and then slams straight into it. So Joan Daru backing up that 9.2, a smaller wave, but you can just tell. I think, you're sitting out in the lineup, you hear that a 9.2 has been dropped in your scoreline. It really is a motivating factor. He does well to kind of just stay right in the pocket of that wave and then comes out in two nice slices. So definitely seeing a fired up Joan Daru at the moment.
Well, having a look at this one on the inside, Joan Daru taking a chance. It's a late takeoff, but he stays near that bowl and starts stalling straight away. He's going to get some cover, spat out of the first section, and just barrows his way through an inside barrel and finds a nice little floater to finish. Strider Wasilewski out there in the caddy's corner, and Michel Perez barking instructions at Joan Daru. What's he saying, Strider?
Well, he basically told him, you just got a 9, and now you should go back out and know that there are some really great inside nuggets coming through, not to get too excited to go too far out. Did exactly that with those last 2 waves, that last one paying off. A nice little barrel, did big lip line floater. Really beautiful surfing. Johan looking on point out here right now. There's a lot going on in the lineup.
There's a lot going here on Tabarua as well, Strider. Your kids have arrived and they are causing havoc over there at the pool, but Strider's family arriving and enjoying some time over here on Tabarua, but have a look at the replay.
Oh, what a great read from Jean Drew. So listening to the advice of his caddy, Michel Perez, and it's interesting, Michel, Jean, Jeremy, all spending a lot of time together, and now Michel caddying for him, telling him to pick up some of these inside nuggets. But look at that thing as it just drains. Great read to thread that second section. Floating maneuver. We know that the judges love the commitment to that inside.
Well, 21 minutes to go here as we see Juan Daru paddling past Michel Perez. And my guess would be that he's telling Juan Daru now to get to the top, get control of this lineup, get priority, keep Geordie off the good ones. But what a start to a massive heat, and the pressure on Geordie Smith now. He is definitely aware of the opportunity that's been presented with some of those top seeds falling out of the mix here. But he is really going to have to get to work. Some promising signs with the form of those last few waves, Rosie.
Oh, for sure. I think that lineup is just cleaning up so well with the draining tide. It looks like it was kind of a bit muddled a little bit earlier, but it seems to be draining out and just giving that opportunity of that bowl to get hammered.
Well, there's been bits and pieces, some decent moments in the event window in the last 7 days, but we've been looking for consistency in the sets. Equal opportunity is what we're after, I have to say, this morning, despite the fact that there were some tough, sort of slower heats. There hasn't been moments where surfers are just basically sitting out there and no waves are coming. There's been opportunity. The top seeds have simply just been outsurfed.
Yeah, for sure. And it's fun to see the lower seeds come in and just have that feeling of dominance at the moment. I know that those 7 lay days, it really, you can wear it either way. You can either be out in the lineup all the time, just conserving your energy when you come back onto land, be hydrating and fueling up your body and in anticipation of these clashes. So, I just think those low seeds are really just grabbing this opportunity at the moment. They've had those lay days, they've contemplated the competition, so they're really getting stuck in.
Well, 19 minutes remaining here. Geordie Smith in trouble. He needs a 2-wave total of 15.38. But out of the event, the Jeep leader, John Florence. Let's check in with him now. He's with Barton Lynch.
Well, John Florence, reigning world champ, mate. That's not the way you want to start the day, is it?
No, not really at all. I never want to lose third round. Seems like these last 2 events have really gotten me. But, yeah, I don't know. The waves were hard. Leo was ripping, and I just didn't get the right ones, I don't think.
The conditions certainly seem to even that playing field out and make wave selection quite an important factor.
Yeah, and wave selection is definitely important. I think that's one of my biggest things I need to really work on. I'm starting to figure out through these last couple of events is just really choosing the right waves, and which is cool. Like I'm figuring out. I'm like, okay, that's something I need to focus on now. But obviously I would have liked to go further, but I'm stoked. It's been a lot. It's been really fun, and I'm super confident right now. And heats like that, the waves are pretty hard, and so yeah.
And that's just competing, isn't it? Like, you should have confidence because we've been watching you surf all week and you're on fire, mate. And when you get to these type of breaks where really we all expect you to excel, and you most probably expect that of yourself, and then the loss comes, must hurt?
Yeah, it hurts a little bit for sure. You don't want to lose early, ever. But, I don't know, anything can happen, really. You can't expect to win everything. And so I've got my 2 throwaways for the year so far, and so hopefully this year I really believe that things are going to get a lot better, and I'm learning a lot, and I'm excited and confident for J-Bay. I can't wait. I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah, you had a great result there last year. We're looking forward to you there. Tell me, what do you do between now and then? What's the plan?
I'm going to hang out for a little bit, take a little break, and then just start start getting ready for J-Bay, essentially. I'm going to go a bit early, I think, and I'm really stoked, though. Like this week, I found a couple really good boards that I think are going to work really good there. And so that's going to be really cool. I'm really excited to try them out there. Just some big open-face carves and stuff.
And you got calves like no one else, brother. They're beautiful. So look forward to seeing that, mate, and enjoy that time off, and sorry about today.
Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you, Barton Lynch. Out there talking to the surfers, the winners and the losers. And John Florence, he's out with another 13th. But you heard the man, he's feeling confident that he's can turn it around.
Yeah, for sure. And I just think that the way that John handles his losses speaks so much about him, and just the fact that he's still feeling confident. He knows that, you know, that wave selection really coming into play on a day like today, which makes it even trickier. So he knows what he has to go home and think about and work on with Ross Williams, but so dangerous to know that he's feeling confident.
16 minutes to go. And Joanne Daru having a bit of a look at that one. Geordie Smith on the inside also has a bit of a sticky beak, but during the interview, Geordie had this one, and he has to push it, Rosie, because he's way back at the moment.
Definitely, and you can tell that the intent on this turn right here, I mean, it was only going to be a two-hit wonder, but he really wanted to push out those limits, throw that tail, and just creep up on the judges' scores. I mean, looking at Jean Daru right now, holding on to that 9.2, he knows that those excellent scores are out there, and if the wave only offers him 2 opportunities, he's going to go for broke on both of them.
15 and a half minutes remaining here in Heat 7. Coming up next, Kelly Slater will take on the rookie Connor O'Leary.
Grabs the rail, sliding into it. That is total commitment there, knowing he's going to go onto shallow reef, and right there, oh my goodness.
Welcome back to the Outer Known Fiji Pro. And as you can see, surfers well represented from all parts of the planet in this contest, and there is still plenty of representatives from all over the place alive in the mix, chasing this elusive title. It's only been won by a small group of surfers on the championship tour, but many of those past winners are already taken down in this event. So who's going to win this year? Is Geordie Smith going to get himself out of trouble? Once again, driving hard, because he is in combo, looking to set up this inside track, grabs that rail, finds a bit of cover. This wave holding up for him, and he does well to hang on. Trying to break combination here at the moment. He needs a 2-wave total of 15.38 to get himself into the lead. Joanne Daru on fire. This is a good looking wave. Off the bottom, nice glassy face. Has a really neat repertoire that he can go to. Nice smooth carves, but also can bank on those hard back foot turns. And also isn't afraid of throwing an air occasionally.
Yeah, he's got that innovative approach. We haven't seen him bring that to the table quite yet, although his scores, he has got some great waves under his belt. This is another one of those keepers, just slashes right into it. So really trying to show that variety. We haven't seen any innovation from John quite yet, but 3 very clean, dynamic maneuvers. The judges are going to like that. And Geordie, you mentioned that combination situation. He's really got to put everything into these backhand turns at the moment to create that point of difference. Gets a couple hits and then goes for the inside tube ride. So I think Geordie just lacking the waves that Joan has been afforded at the moment.
Joan Daru just killing Geordie Smith with wave selection at the moment. But it has to be said, Joan Daru, I think in some respects it has just left a little bit out there on those rides. He hasn't had to push it too hard because they've been such incredible waves. But the risk factor wasn't really there, even though he surfed that first wave to a 9.2 with just beautiful carves and great variety. I still feel if Geordie can get a quality wave and throw some high risk turns, he might be a chance at turning this heat around.
Yeah, I have to agree. I mean, to gain, a 9.2 on your first ride, I mean, that wave was the best wave that we've seen pretty much all afternoon. So, Jean, not risking everything on that wave, but definitely surfing to that criteria, getting that big number, and that's given him the confidence to back it up with that 6.53. I think Geordie just needs to, stay confident in himself and find one of those waves that's going to offer him the opportunity to get that big score.
Backed himself up nicely, Joan Daru, 6.17. Built on that again on his very next ride, a 6.53. I think a lot of those surfers at the back end of the ratings have just reached that point where the stress of competing at this level is gone, the frustration has set in, and the ability now to really go all out in heats is starting to shine through. You look at Joan Daru's results from the first 4 events of the year, only 1 heat win, and that came down at Bells Beach. Some good moments for him in round 1 matchups, but just missing out on the victory a couple of times in the first round. Even in the first event of the year, he had a good performance in the first round. One of the highest scoring surfers not to progress directly through to round 3 there.
Yeah, and I think that's just so important. We look at Leo and Jean Daru and just seeing them find that momentum and shedding that skin of the previous events and stepping into their own. You know that you're a rookie on tour, but you've got to step up at this level, and I think that's what these surfers are doing now. You mentioned that frustration, the disappointment, that's all got to be put behind you. It's a fresh slate here in Fiji.
When you're on the championship tour yourself, Rosie, and before you, when you were a lower seed and before you, surfers at the back end of the ratings were getting wins over title contenders. Did that encourage you? Did that give you a little bit of confidence going into round 3 heats like this?
Yeah, it definitely does. I mean, that desire just is with everyone on the championship tour at the moment to overcome those big obstacles. And coming in as a lower seed, you're always going to have the daunting task of going up against some of your heroes and also some of the best contenders, most informed surfers. So you've got to rise to that challenge and that occasion and just know your place on tour. I think that's so important, is just having that confidence, and that's why, John's saying that he's feeling confident. As soon as a surfer feels confident, it can be so dangerous. I think that's what Leo is feeling at this moment, making it through that 1 heat. That's the first heat he's made all year, and now making a second one, so the ball's getting rolling.
Geordie Smith continues to chip away at this combination, trying to get a big number up. This wave looked good at the start. Not sure if he got deep enough on that pullback shot. We'll get another look at it in a moment, but he is finishing very strong on the inside there, letting go of those fins, sliding across the lip for a moment, all with complete control. Just under 8 minutes to go, and that wave might just do it for Geordie, but meanwhile, out the back, Joan Daru taking off too deep on this ride.
Yeah, that surfing from Geordie is so precise, and I think it's kind of, he's taking a wave that has an opportunity to get like a 3, and he really turns it into something special just with the moves that he's placing on the wave. So that can be his point of difference right now. But he just has to find that little gem that's going to run off and give him 3 or 4 maneuvers.
We'll get a look at that replay in just a moment. But I think you're right. I think those title contenders, the form that they've shown throughout the first 4 events of the year, just tells you that they don't necessarily need a big, long, stretched-out wall. They can get that combination of major turns happening. But have a look at the replay here from the outset. Geordie didn't get particularly deep on that wave.
No, he didn't get particularly deep, but it was a good read, but unfortunately not getting completely covered. But that turn right there, even though it's lateral, you can tell the intent, but that last move, that's the point of difference right there. Geordie's just got that power. Watch the read. He's trying with all his might to slow down in that barrel and get as deep as he can. Watch this last turn, Ronnie. This is really... That's that backhand that Geordie's been working on coming to the forefront.
There's definitely that element of risk in that manoeuvre too, and job done for Geordie Smith with that wave. He breaks the combination at 6.9 now after an 8.84, so still plenty of work to do, but it still feels like Joan Daru's scoring rides were much better waves than even what Geordie had there. That was a good wall, but it was tapering pretty quickly. So Geordie really worked that one over.
Yeah, it was a great performance on an average wave. And when I look at Geordie's performance throughout the year, he's had to overcome these big rookie performers. I mean, look at his performance that he had to display against Ezekiel Lau on the Gold Coast, and then Ezekiel Lau again at Bells Beach. So Geordie's been in this position so many times this year, and he's been able to fight his way back. So he's going to draw confidence from those matchups and maybe flex a little bit on John in these remaining minutes of the heat.
Joan's still in control at the moment. Really wants to get rid of that 6.53. Doesn't need a whole lot more than that to put Geordie back in combination. Just under 5 minutes to go here. Four minutes and 30 seconds to go. Let's dive into the recap. Joan Daru picking off the wave of the day in the opening stages.
There's no better way to start a heat than with a 9.2 in your scoreline. Joan Daru soft rolling and then just straight into back-to-back hacks, showing that variety, throwing in the float, but really just stamping his authority. You can tell that we've had those few lay days, and this boy's just been sitting, waiting for this opportunity to arise. He takes it with both hands, 9.2 on the opening exchange, applies the pressure directly to Geordie Smith. And John, again, building on his score, just dropping a couple sixes, has such a great read. Listen to the advice of Michelle Perez to pick up those inside nuggets, races through those open sections on the inside. And again, this is the 6.53 to back up that 9.2. See Joan Daru in a firm lead over the number 2 seed, Geordie Smith. Geordie fighting his way back out of combination. The 6.9 breaks that combination grip that Joan Daru had on him. Potent surfing from Geordie Smith.
Love that final turn there. That's the one that broke combination. As we transition back into live action now, just over 3 minutes to go. And Joan taking off nice and deep. Banks off that first section. This wave, a flat moment here. So he goes to that cut back. And now it's starting to wall up again through the inside. A nice bowling wave and a couple of critical hits. You can see the confidence building as the Frenchman takes this one right through to the inside. Coming off the back of a ISA World Games gold medal, team gold medal. He also took a silver in the individual event, but that seemed to get his confidence up a bit, didn't it?
Definitely, and I think after that ride, Geordie Smith is going to be in trouble once again. Joan Daru can do no wrong in this lineup at the moment.
Well, wave selection was again on point, but that time he went a little bit more aggressive on that ride. He didn't go to that two-hand stall. The wave wanted to barrel, but he decided to hit it instead, and he's going to get a big reward for this wave.
Definitely. The tempo on this wave, just so deserving of a big score. You see that soft takeoff, and it just offers itself up to him and keeps on gaining speed. And every single turn, you've noticed the body language of Jean Duroux. He's on right now. And I think when a surfer has that feeling where he's paddling back into the lineup and picking up those bombs, it can just be so dangerous for the other competitor in the lineup.
Very popular amongst his peers. He's a quiet guy from Bayonne, France. He's just dropped an 8.4 against the current world number 2. And Geordie back in combination now. And before, it was an achievable 2-wave total, something that we could see Geordie Smith really turning around now with a minute and a half to go. He's basically got no hope, chasing a 2-wave total of 17.61, a hefty score for the Frenchman.
Yep, the Anaconda squeeze has been put on Geordie at the moment, 17.61. Wow, he's really, you can almost tell, a little bit disheartened at hearing those numbers drop for Jean Duroux. But wow, the Frenchman has put together just such an unbelievable heat. That frustration evident for Geordie. This is a massive opportunity for him. John Florence falling out of the mix.
I don't think I've ever seen Geordie as primed to really do well in this event either. He just looks like he's surfing as good as he ever has on his backhand at the moment. Yep. He's in a great position on the leaderboard, but we heard John Florence say it in his post-head interview. Wave selection's so crucial out there. You underestimate these rookies at your own peril. And Geordie, he just was out of rhythm in this heat.
That's the heartbreaking thing about surfing. I mean, we talk about the hard work that goes into everything and the athlete's approach. And I think for Geordie, that heartbreak is that the ocean just absolutely undid him. And at the same time, Jean Duroux smiled upon him. So, you know, Jean had those opportunities and he made the most of it, as is evident in his scoreline, the 9.2 and the 8.4. So Geordie Smith, unfortunately, falling victim to the ocean.
Well, Heat 7 has come to a close. Juan Duroux with one of the biggest heat score totals of the event, 17.6, is moving on through to round 4 as yet another top 10 surfer falls out of the mix. Michel Perez cheering on Juan Duroux in that heat. He's pretty happy with the result as we get ready for Kelly Slater to take on Conor O'Leary. We'll be back with that exchange right after the break. Welcome back to the Outerknown Fiji Pro. We are getting set for a big one. The 11-time world champ Kelly Slater, who has won this event 4 times, going up against Conor O'Leary, who has been so impressive as a rookie this season. leading that Rookie of the Year race. He's going to give Kelly a really good nudge in this heat. And a worrying trend developing in the first few battles of the day with the top seeds tumbling. Slater will look to turn it around. Nobody surfs this wave better than Kelly Slater. But it's not typical cloud break out there at the moment. Slater's up. Let's see what he can do with this first ride off the bottom. Just staying very critical with this wave. Trying to really come up under that lip. Connor O'Leary also had a wave during the break.
Yeah, Connor O'Leary, noticing him in the free surf yesterday, spending a lot of time in this lineup with Stewie Kennedy, but looking so sharp. Yep, a worrying trend, the lower seeds dismantling some of our front runners for the world title.
Well, Kelly, the only former winner here in Fiji, left in the contest. But these conditions, Rosie, they're going to really even up the field a little bit. We saw Geordie on the back end of that last heat. Definitely looked like Juan Daru picked him apart with wave selection, but also on the forehand just had a really good read with those barreling sections. So we'll see how Connor fares. From that opening exchange, not a whole lot to talk about. Just a 3.67 for Slater, a 1.67 for the rookie, who's having a look at an insider right now. The big kid driving off the bottom. Solid first hit. Throwing so much water on that second turn, but goes down on move number 3. Out the back, Slater duck diving under a bigger set wave. Just really hoping that these taller lines start to roll in.
Yep, I think something that can play into your favor out in this lineup at the moment is really paying close attention to what's scoring. I think Leo did that quite well in that first heat with Michelle Perez and Mick Fanning. And then I think Jean Daru obviously getting some insights from Michelle Perez in his heat.
Critical drop from Slater here, drives off the bottom. Hooks hard off the top, but he's opting to kick out here. He's going to let this tapering wall go on unridden. Just under 30 minutes to go. Strider, what's happening with the conditions out there?
Well, conditions seem to be cleaning up. A lot of water moving, a lot of new swell activity out here, it seems like. So I think what's happening, I was talking to Slater just before this heat, so when a new swell comes in, you got a lot of water drawing out through the channel. That coupled with the tide going down has just created this crazy current that's really literally white capping through out the back, and it's just become this just extreme paddle for everybody out here. I mean, we just got to Juan Daru after that last heat. I mean, he'd been paddling for the last 10 minutes just trying to get back to the channel. Geordie's still not back, and you know, a lot of work out here, so definitely a lot of water moving out here as new swell approaches.
Thank you, Strider. As we see Connor now swinging on the inside, so without priority, taking a chance on this insider, trying to set something up here, drops back into the bowl, just a bit wobbly on his approach to the lip there. He kicks out. Enjoyed a couple of trips up here before the event. Slater out the back now. Seeing that wave shutting down just a little further down the line. He opts out, wants to get that priority back.
Yep, that water, the rip pulling off the reef and the water moving around is so evident when you watch the surfers kind of side off screen.
Connor O'Leary up, just trying to thread this inside section, stalling, get some cover, foamy on the face. But no problem for the surfer that hails from Cronulla. And he'll get a reasonable score on the board. He had a 4 just a couple of moments ago. So only needs a 2.6 to get into the lead. He should find that with that tube ride. Currently sitting back in 15th position on the ratings. Luke Egan is his coach. Luke won the contest here back in 2000. Knows this wave very well. Still rips. Cloud break. But let's have a look at the replay of Connor's last wave. Came through at a 4.27, Rosie.
Yep, you can see Connor's read on this wave. You know, that inside section has been throwing up quite nicely, but quick in and out for him. Good way to just stay active in this heat. I think he's just trying to reposition himself by catching a lot of waves. And you can tell that he was just hunting that section down. He knew what he was looking for on that wave, and he just really produced that score. So Connor, I mean, with having Luke Egan in his corner, Luke's already had a very successful trip to Tavaro, to Fiji, helped Courtney Conlog to a victory out here last week.
The race for the title here at Stop 5 is well and truly anyone's. I think at this point it's really hard to pick who the winner's going to be now. I think with Owen Wright, Gabriel Medina, John Florence and Geordie Smith falling out of the mix, opens the door for a breakthrough victory. Slater's obviously still got his chance. I have to say, from the free surfing I've witnessed in the last 6 days, Adriano de Souza could be very dangerous in this event. He seems so comfortable in this lineup. He surfs really tight in the pocket, has such a strong backhand. His barrel riding's just out of this world these days. He has such a good read.
Yeah, he does. I mean, spending a lot of time here last year, I think that really was the difference for him, learning this lineup. And then in any kinds of conditions, he's out in the water, so he's not going to mind at all with the change in conditions and having to adapt. He's so dangerous in that kind of setup where he's kind of, you know, has to hunt down those scores. Adriano de Souza, this lineup, I think he's going to go quite well.
Well, he has an opportunity with the big result to seize that yellow jersey heading into Stop 6, Jeffreys Bay. Matt Wilkinson, an outside shot at getting back into the colour yellow himself in 5th place and already into the 4th round. But it's going to be fun to watch this unfold. This is definitely one of those tricky days that you really want to survive, because we know there's more swell coming in the event window. So you've got to battle through these tougher conditions, and that'll be Kelly's goal for sure. He always comes here with high expectations. This is the beginning of Kelly's strongest 3 events on the schedule, as we see Geordie Smith just washing off that loss.
Yeah, this is
I think you look at Geordie's history in this event. His best results are a quarter-final, but other than that, a lot of round 3 exits. So it might be a little easier for him to wash off that result than, say, John Florence, who's been super consistent and cracking the finals at this event. One thing's for sure, Geordie's going to be hard to beat at Jeffreys Bay anytime we turn up at stop number 6. Connor O'Leary there just getting ankle tapped at the bottom of a decent-sized wave. So the situation will remain the same with 24 minutes to go. Slater is chasing a 4.6 to get into the lead. He's been super busy, Connor. This is wave number 7. Beautiful. Down the line snap there. And really hacks hard on the oncoming section. You talk about wave selection, Rosie. We saw Jean Deroux pick off waves that just reeled on for eternity and offered a lot of scoring potential, but that wave just then of Connor's, not a lot of room to move, but the judges really like it when that end section builds up and gives you something solid to bank off. Kelly Slater out the back at the moment, stalling for the barrel. Good start to this ride. Paces himself through the inside, hoping for a couple more bulky sections to rip into. Bit of foam to deal with. They're keeping that compact style flowing down the line. That'll be Kelly's best ride.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where that kind of falls in the judges' scale compared to Connor's, you know, 2 dynamic maneuvers on his wave, and then Slater with the barrel to start, the couple moves that he did on that wave. So there's that variance in both of their approaches, and the wave, obviously, what it's offering at that moment. Well, here we go. Kelly drops straight into the barrel. Really has to stall to stuff himself in there, but just interesting to watch him link up these sections on the reef. He took off way outside such a speedy transition through the turns. Even tries to throw in that carving 360, so knows that he's got to create a point of difference, and I think Kelly just does it so well by just adding that variety. Watch him as he links that section together. This is where that wave starts to meet up and wall and offer him opportunity. You can see Connor paddling over that one and just having a peek at his competitor. But yeah, Kelly, you can tell that he is ready to do battle in this heat, that he's not taking Connor lightly.
6.67 on the last ride. And now he looks to set up a bowling pit. But this one's going to get away from him. 21.5 minutes to go. Slater back out in front. Connor O'Leary, though, not too far behind, chasing a 5.18 to get himself into the lead. 25 years ago, Kelly came here, was collecting footage for Kelly Slater in black and white, that iconic profile movie, and he's really been pushing the needle and leading the way for performance surfing at Cloudbreak and restaurants ever since. He's still the benchmark.
Yeah, and interesting just to note that he jumped off the ski right there, just that rip pulling up the reef. Okay, he's going to see if he can find something a little bit inside, but what a long history Kelly's had with this place.
Some amazing victories, some really special moments. 10-point rides galore coming Slater's way here at Cloudbreak. And some mind-blowing free surfing efforts as well. Here we go, Connor O'Leary up. Bit of wind picking up, it seems to be ironing out the lumps, and O'Leary just piecing together a couple of big turns, but falls on that last move. First heat up against Kelly. The nerves have got to creep in. Such a huge opportunity that no young surfer takes lightly. Something you'll never forget. 20 minutes to go. Connor's still probably going to be chasing a number to get himself into the lead after falling on that last wave.
Yeah, I still think, Connor's approach has been so mature in this heat. A little bit late to the party on that finishing move, but the two turns before that really caught our attention. I think he's cognizant of what the other surfers were doing in the previous heats and what was, putting up, what was scoring the big numbers. And let's just see Connor flows into that hack. That wave stands up. So two really great moves, but this one just a little late. He gets beat down, but had he finished that off, I mean, he'd be right there in that conversation to take the lead away from Kelly.
A 4.6, so it did cost him. So that was that combination on its way to being one of those three-turn combinations that always seems to get the attention of the judges. 19 minutes to go. Slater holding onto the lead. He's got priority. Our goal today, knocking over this third round, setting up a big finals day.
Seems like that wind's picked up a notch.
It does. You know that Kelly's going to have a strategy to combat whatever happens out there. We had a chat to him about preparing for heats before he hit the lineup today.
Everyone starts a heat a certain way, you react in a certain way, and it's a battle back and forth, and it's not unlike a fight. I watch a lot of UFC, so I'm always kind of picturing it in that way. What is the pace of the fight? What's going to dictate how the heat's won? Some guys come out slugging and they fade off. Some guys build momentum. Some guys are real conservative and just need that one or two waves that kind of set them apart from the other guys. So, and what are your skill sets? Are you a great barrel rider? Are you great carving? Do you have the maneuvers that the other guy doesn't have? So, it's fitting this whole recipe together in the right flow during 30 minutes that is what becomes successful.
Well, these two competitors are just jabbing away at each other at the moment. No major scores locked in, so no haymakers have been thrown. But Kelly does have the single highest number. He might go looking for the rear naked choke in a moment.
Oh, yeah. You got to just really gets stuck in. I think Kelly loves to just sweep the leg, and that's what he's looking to do here. The 6.67. He knows that those 9-point rides are out there. We saw Jean Duroux post those big numbers, so Kelly wants to shut the door on his competitor.
What did you know about Conor O'Leary before he won the QS last season?
Do you know what is incredible about Conor? I think it was just the way that, you know, Leonardo just ran away with the ratings lead in the beginning part of the heat, and Conor just went chipping away. I mean, he won in Bolito, and then really in Hawaii, just the same thing, caught fire, took over the QS ratings lead. So I think he just, you know, I don't know an incredible amount about him running out. Wish you didn't like me.
Well, I'm kind of the same. I feel like the whole world surfing world's probably in a similar boat, except those down in Cronulla who've been watching his rise. I did see him a few years back at a specialty event, a board riders event down at Cronulla, and he was on fire. I thought with surfing like that, you know, he could qualify. A couple of years later, he got very close, just missed out by a couple of heats. But I was paying attention to his surfing, but he's gotten bigger, stronger. He's one of those guys that since he graduated to the elite ranks, since he got that win and shored up his position for this year, I think he's worked really hard, and employing the help of Luke Egan, who lives just basically down the street from him in Cronulla these days. I think they worked really hard in the off-season and the lead up to those first events. He had a great performance on the Gold Coast, but he's been impressive at every stop, and I think Luke deserves a lot of credit for that, because he just seems to have a really good knowledge of each of the locations, despite the fact that he hasn't got a lot of experience at those stops.
Yeah, definitely. If you've got that sounding board like someone like Luke Egan, who's been just one of the standouts for so long, and then Conor just seems like he has such a sound head on his body. Good, just someone that you can really work with, and obviously that's that kind of chemistry that you have with your coach, where you can just rub off on someone in a positive manner. I think Conor just takes all that on, and like you mentioned, he's at every single stop. He's had moments of brilliance, and Luke actually mentioned that to me the other day on one of the boats out here, that Conor has really had some great moments in his rookie year already, and he's super proud of him. So that's really cool that both of those guys are working so well together.
Well, 14 and a half minutes to go. Geordie Smith has just dropped his worst result of the season, and with no waves coming our way at the moment, we'll check in with Barton Lynch.
George, it's been a morning of upsets, mate, and unfortunately that continued with yourself.
Absolutely. I mean, I think for me it just boiled down to that last wave. I mean, the first wave, sorry. I took the first one, and it just so happened that right behind it was pretty much the wave of the day that John got. He surfed it really well, got a big score, but yeah, I think I was judging the conditions before that heat. It looked like it was pretty slow. There wasn't a lot. There's a lot of current going up the point. We got sucked really high up. So I decided to catch a wave, try to get down, and yeah, I think it just went his way today, and good luck to him for the rest of the event.
Yeah, he got that first 9.2 from a place on the reef that no one really had surfed yet, and that was that current taking you up. Every heat has been different today too, hasn't it, the conditions? So hard to get a read on it and dial in exactly what you want to do? Exactly, it's really hard to get a read on it. I mean, you know, I'll base my heat off judging the conditions before I paddle out there. And then try and adapt as we go. You know, we started way up the top. That seemed to be the best place for the waves to, when we started the heat. And then sure enough, ended up way down. It's like a big Haliva, you know, there's just a ton of rip going. It's really hard to get down the bottom, but yeah, it's just one of those things. It's just not my day. Tough question, mate, here. I saw you on the back of the ski with your hands in your head coming back, and it looked like you had a few little words to yourself. Any insight into what you were thinking, what you were saying to yourself at that point? I think you just got to accept the losses like you accept the wins, you know. We go out there, we try our best, and end of the day, if you don't get the best waves, you're not going to win. So today I didn't get the best wave, they're not going to win, and yeah, I think I just, learned a lesson. I just got to be on the better waves, and
just trail harder next time.
And a great attitude's got to help, mate, and you've got that. So congratulations anyway on the surfing you've been doing this year. And we look forward to seeing it more on your home turf in South Africa next.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. It'll be a great fun. Can't wait.
Geordie Smith will head to the next stop. Right up the top end of the ratings, an event he has won twice, the J-Bay Open. And everyone over there in that region doing it tough at the moment, fighting some pretty big bushfires. So a big shout out to everyone over in South Africa. We're looking forward to getting there.
Yeah.
And celebrating that beautiful country. And that contest kicks off July 12th, the Corona J-Bay Open. Don't miss it.
I can't wait to go home, Ronnie.
It's been a long time, Ro.
Yeah. One full calendar year.
Out in the water at the moment, 11.5 minutes remaining. Slater out in front, but Connor O'Leary, the rookie, not too far behind. We'll see if he can track down the 11-time world champ right after the break. Parko coming up next. Welcome back to the Outerknown Fiji Pro. We're thrilled to be back underway here with the third round. And have a look at that. Former winners in this event still on the championship tour, but 3 of them have been given the flick in the early rounds. And Kelly Slater, the most winning surfer here at stop number 5, is still alive, but he's out in the water now in a close battle. Nothing separating him and his rival, Connor O'Leary. And Slater holding on to the single highest score, but definitely wouldn't be feeling safe at this point, Rosie.
Yeah, 5.81 Connor O'Leary needs to take that lead away, so not much space between these two competitors in terms of numbers, and also out in this lineup right now.
9 minutes to go. Let's check in with Strider and get some info on Kelly's equipment.
Yeah, we've definitely, a little situation for Kelly this morning. He was out for a practice surf. Then he decided he wanted to try a different board out. As we see this exchange going down right now, it looks like Connor's going to take this one away from Kelly with priority. Come around the corner. Nice little gouge on the open face. Get back into the power pocket there. Another clean sweep. Again, back into the zone. Looks like it's lining up on the inside. Nice lip line crack right there. Another big sweep into the corner. Connor, and he's out of there. So a great way for Connor there. He's going to try to, step it up and take back that lead. So Kelly went all the way to Nomotu lefts with the jet ski and Abe Lerner, and went to try out another board that was a little bit smaller because his warm-up surf was in really small waves. And then came back, and all of a sudden the swell was here, and he's like, oh no. Then he get back on the old board.
Well, Slater with some equipment confusion before this heat, but maybe not. Maybe just wanting to try that board in smaller waves and just making that jump back onto maybe a bigger board or a different board once he'd seen this lineup. But at this stage of the game, you can see him just scrambling to get into position. Connor O'Leary, we're waiting on the numbers to come through on that last wave, expecting that it's going to be a reasonable score. He only needs a 5.18 to get into the lead. Meanwhile, though, Slater out the back, having a look at this one. You can see that wave just breaking in half at that point, separating quite a bit. That wind continues to increase.
Yeah, Kelly mentioning the other day that he came over to Tabarua right before the contest period and obviously surfed a couple of his brand new boards out at restaurants, so still harnessing his quiver. I think he'd be feeling pretty comfortable on all of his equipment at the moment, though.
Well, this has just been a tough heap of waves, but Slater's going to throw everything at that first section on this ride. Just under 7 minutes to go, still waiting on a score for O'Leary. And it could see a situation change here.
Yeah, the judges definitely mulling over that number. I think, you know, that third turn that Connor placed on that wave was really something that would have been a bit meaty in the scoreline. Let's get another look. Actually, Connor O'Leary having second priority, so taking this wave from underneath Kelly's priority, lays that rail, waits for it to stand up, lays it in again. This is the third turn. Just watch how sharp that looks. A lot of water displaced. Almost gets caught behind, but 4 pretty decent turns from Connor. There we go. You see Kelly did have a little look at it, ups out of it, and Connor O'Leary decides to snaffle it underneath his priority. 2 good slices, but this jamming third turn, well placed. It'll be interesting to see if it is that score that he requires. I think it's going to fall in that range.
It's 5.57, so enough for O'Leary to make the jump into first. Kelly's still holding on to that single highest score, so it doesn't leave him chasing much to get into the lead. Just a 4.07, not quite the task that some of the other top seeds have faced going into the final stages of their heats. Seen some big numbers dropped by the rookies. But 5 minutes and 20 seconds to go. Kelly still would be feeling confident at this point in time. I'm sure everyone out there playing fantasy surfing took some big hits today in the third round.
Guaranteed. I mean, I don't think any of us saw that coming. Just the bloodbath of the top seeds. The lower seeds been dominant. Whoa, Kelly has spotted something.
Scrambling to get into position here. He's got priority. But he lets that one go through. Connor, he wears it on the head. He ducks under it. A good sized wave starting to do its thing there on the inside.
Wow.
Only for a moment though.
With only a few of those waves coming through in these heats, it's a shame to see that one go unridden. You can see Kelly definitely wanted it.
Such a gamble though. Out there yesterday during the free surfing or watching competitors, those that sat a little further out on the ledge waiting for the sets, often had the really nice little double up ones that pass underneath.
Yeah.
And reel off and barrel through the inside, go under them.
It is a gamble for sure. Today, those kind of medium-sized ones that hug the reef have been paying dividends to the competitors. Just shows you how tricky positioning is at the moment.
Well, this will be a massive upset if Connor O'Leary can hang on for a victory here. Slater had 77% of people playing fantasy whack him in their teams. Has had so few losses here. Has an amazing track record against fellow regular footers. It's only Michel Perez who's ever gotten Kelly on the backhand, but he has lost out to some classy, goofy footers before. Luke Egan, Mark Occhilupo, and in more recent times, Gabriel Medina.
And you know, Kelly's saying himself that these next 3, well, this event, J-Bay, Tahiti, that's really his favorite leg on tour. So he notes this as, you know, his favorite stops and where he can make up ground on the ratings with all of those top seeds falling out.
Oh, we've got to give Freddie Patascio a mention. Also got Kelly in this same round back in 2004. Italo Ferreira upset him in the 5th round a couple of years back. But have a look at that little run in the middle. Slater, so dominant. He missed the event due to injury a couple of times in the mix. But, I mean, really, he had 4 consecutive victories here.
Yeah, that's got to be a spark in your confidence. And Luke Egan getting him in 2002, Conor O'Leary's coach. So there's definite oomph behind the advice that Luke is giving Conor at the moment.
O'Leary's having a look at everything without priority because he knows that he only needs to improve on a 5.17 to push Kelly's requirement a little higher. 4.07 Slater's chasing at the moment. 2 minutes remaining. Will he get a shot at it, Rosie?
Wow, I mean, you can sense the tension right now. Kelly doing that little water flick to kind of change the energy at the moment, finding that different flow. You heard him speaking about, you know, the approach that he takes and what he's inspired by, and he knows that energy has to kind of turn in his favor. It's been the theme throughout today of the lower seeds being triumphant, so will Conor hold on and keep that dream alive for himself, or Kelly overturn him?
Well, one of the better events for the rookie class. Already 3 progressing through to the 4th round. Conor O'Leary, if he hangs on here, he'll be the 4th. Ian Gavea, Leonardo Fioravanti, Juan Daru.
Wow, 4.07 needed by Kelly Slater. I can't help but get sweaty palms at this moment. I mean, these are really... This is the do or die time with under a minute remaining. Kelly Slater with priority. He's got all those variables in his favor at the moment, but is the Ocean going to come to play?
An uncomfortable score to chase too, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why is that?
So true. Well, we saw Kelly, you know, chasing a 3-point ride in his round 1 heat and tipping it in his favor, so...
Well, here we go. 35 seconds to go. Slater making a move. You can see this wave starting to double up.
Oh.
Kelly has a look at it. It fades away. It backed off on him. 2 minutes to go. Sorry, 20 seconds.
Yeah, he's had a funky
rhythm. Time on the clock.
You like, give him 2 minutes. Well, that's the thing. I mean, we mentioned that round 1 heat that Kelly had. It was really just so awkward to see him not have a great read.
Look at this. It's coming to a close. Slater's up. But he is on just a small wave behind Conor. It's not doing much at the moment. Hops over O'Leary's leg rope there, and Slater, the 4th top seed to tumble here in the 3rd round. Kelly, it's been such a strong event for him over the years. Luke Egan there celebrating. Conor O'Leary just squeaks past the greatest surfer of all time.
Yeah, I think Kelly is in a little bit of shock at the moment. Just letting that sink in.
Well, that stings. Slater missed Brazil, dropped a long ways down the ratings, and was no doubt looking at this as a huge opportunity to really climb back up the ladder. We've seen him do it here before. But in his last 3 events, Kelly has failed to progress past the 3rd round. Conor O'Leary, the rookie, is through to round 4. We're going to take a quick break. When we return, Joel Parkinson will take on Jeremy Flores. We'll bring in Potts and Geeks to the call.